What is up, YouTubers, gamers and hobbyists? Excuse me. Welcome to P&Q, the question and answer series, where you put questions to me or put comments to me or ask questions of me, and then I respond the following video. I might not necessarily respond the following video if you ask a question now, but it will get answered in one of the videos. I've still got loads of questions left that have been gathered over the years. I hadn't even got to the questions a friend of mine brought up. So without further ado, let's get into this. It's still with my trusty iPad here, because it's all about saving paper, isn't it? Right, let's have a look. Notes. Questions. So the last question I was asked was about Kickstarters. Do I participate? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so let's just get straight on with it, shall we? So, first question. Did you ever roleplay using a theatre of the mind approach? And the answer to that, of course, is yes. Because didn't have the luxury of all the miniatures and terrain and different things back in the day when I first started role-playing. Which in my case was D&D. Just set my camera, not my camera, my microphone right. Yeah, it was D&D, and it was all theatre of the mind. So, did you ever roleplay? Yes, and then again later, obviously figures became more prominent. We're able to play D&D with figures, etc. But years later, good old World of Darkness Vampire. Played that theatre of the mind as well, which was brilliant. Now, there was a series of miniatures you could get for Vampire, the Masquerade, and Werewolf and things like that. Or there was in one of my local gaming shops, Games Inc. it was called, in Plymouth. I wouldn't know. I think they might have been official. I don't know for sure. But they looked good, but I just couldn't afford them. I couldn't afford to have that many extra miniatures with all the other miniatures I had going on at the time. But didn't really need it. Theatre of the Mind is more than adequate for some games. Vampire is certainly one of those games, and it really all depends on your group, how you run it, the storyteller or DM or whatever game master. You don't really need it. It's nice to have a little visual representation on the table or order of a party, walking along in a dungeon or whatever, if you need traps or ambushes, that kind of thing. It's kind of cool. Gives you something to look at while it's not your turn, that sort of thing. But yeah. So yeah, I did roleplay using a theatre of the mind approach. Good question. Next one is, do you write and have you ever written a book? I don't write so much now. I've written a book of poetry, not a very big book. And I started writing a fantasy book. I've started a few books over the years and abandoned them because the lack of drive and organisation, I guess. But yeah, I had a book of poetry published many years ago by a publishing house called Merlin Books. It was called. I don't even think they're still around anymore. I haven't seen a penny from any of those books for many a year now, but yeah, so there you go. Right, does Dylan have a favourite place to go or walk? Yeah, he does, actually. Dylan likes Blackberry Camp. I think that's his favourite place of all time. The only one that comes close to that, like a close second, would be the beach. But Blackberry Camp and the old castle fortifications in the woodland there, it's a magical place. It really is a magical place. You have to be there to know what I'm talking about. Videos, photos don't pick up on it. You experience it when you're there. You feel it. It feels magical, and that is his favourite place to go. He just absolutely loves running through the trees. There's pheasants around. There's all sorts of smells. There's loads of birds in there, actually. Farmyards either side of it. It's, and he's on the lead, so he doesn't cause any problem. But he just loves it. He absolutely loves it. There's sunspots, there's shady spots. It's a fantastic place. Yeah. So, Blackberry Camp. Okay. That answers that. All right. Loving this P&Q. Have you ever played Pathfinder? And if so, what's your take on it? I haven't actually played it. But looking at the rulebooks, it looks a bit like D&D 3rd edition or 3.5 or whatever. It looks fine to me. It looks absolutely fine. Would I play it? Yes, of course. And I may well do one day. I've got a Pathfinder like 1st edition or something, box set, starter set. Yeah, I may well end up starting that, because why not? Why not? Anything that reminds me of old D&D, I'm up for. I am so there. So another sip of coffee, because we're getting through these questions here. From my Dolce Gusto. Is it Dolce Gusto Nescafe coffee machine? Yeah. Feels a bit pretentious, actually, but it does smell lovely when it's being, kind of poured out from the machine. All right. Do you prefer metal, resin, or plastic? Why? That's a good question. Ooh. It's between plastic and metal. I don't like resin miniatures, and the reason is they're too brittle and they warp most of the time, and I just don't like them. You've got to use super glue to glue them together. Nasty things. Whereas metal miniatures are usually all-in-ones. And plastic. I love plastic too. Probably plastic's going to be my favourite ultimately. But I've got a bit of a thing about the old school metal miniatures. Just reminds me of the old days. And it feels nice and chunky and solid in your hand, when you're moving them around on the tabletop. Yeah, I mean, for painting, it doesn't make any difference whether it's, metal, resin or plastic. Yeah. But yeah, I just don't like resin miniatures. They do break. I mean, you got to drop them, knock them over. They break their sword, whatever. The head falls. I'm not a fan. Not a fan. Right. Have you played through? Not again. How long has this been going on? Have you played through your solo D&D game yet? And if not, why not? Laughing face. That. No, I haven't. There'd be evidence of it on my channel. I mean, I've played a solo D&D game. It was like my second most popular video on my channel. But no, I haven't started my campaign yet, if that's what you mean. Right. Ever done a tutorial on how to paint horses? I can't see one. No, I haven't. That's because I haven't done one. I could do with doing one, couldn't I, really? But there's so many different ways of painting horses, see? I'll give that one some thought. I will give that one some thought. What is your preference? Wargaming or role-playing? Wow. That depends how I'm feeling at the time. Sometimes I feel like playing wargaming. Other times I feel like doing role-playing. Just depends on how I feel at the time. I have no actual preference, so yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Okay, I've done 8. Next one. Whereabouts are you based now? That's easy. I'm based in Seaton, East Devon now. I used to live in Plymouth, in the southwest of England, but now I live in East Devon, Seaton. So people often get confused between Seaton and Cornwall, and they think that's where I live, but it isn't. That's even further away than Plymouth to me. No, I live in East Devon, so that's a easy question to answer. How is Dylan getting on? He's getting on fab, absolutely fab. I love watching him progress on an almost daily basis, especially with his interactions with Lucian. I'm fascinated with. I'm trying to work out what it is with him. Sometimes he will bark at him. Another times he just sniffs him. And other times he completely ignores him. I think he's a little bit jealous of him when it comes to laying on my wife's lap and stuff, because he's a bit of a wants to get up on your lap on the sofa type thing. So we'll bark at Lucian if he's on my wife's lap. Lucian doesn't come on my lap very much because I fidget too much because of my bad leg and that. But yeah, he's getting on really, really well, thank you. Do some more, shall we? I suffer with fatigue on and off, as I know you do. How do you cope with it? It's a tough one to answer, really. I was given some advice many years ago to think of it like being in the water. And the fatigue is a big wave that's coming towards you and it's washing over you. You just got to let it wash over you. Don't try to fight it. You will drown. All right? Just let it wash over you. Just let it go with it, whatever. Wait for the sea to settle. And then open your eyes and assess your situation. That's the best advice I ever had on dealing with it or coping with it, because you can't really deal with it, can you? But you cope with it. Right. Do you prefer to airbrush or hand brush? I prefer to hand brush, although airbrush gives you phenomenal results and is obviously way quicker. But I'm not about speed painting. I'm not about that at all. I prefer to hand paint. I get lost in my thoughts easier when I'm hand painting. And that's what the hobby, the majority of the hobby is about for me, really, is getting lost in it. So I do prefer hand brushing. Have you ever LARPed? If so, what is it like? You asked me that. Have I ever LARPed? Yeah, I have. What was it like for me? It was alright. I went into it with an open mind, which I think you have to do. I ended up playing some character that got killed, and then I ended up playing an orc, so it was quite fun. That was actually more fun than the character, to be honest, because you had got all the makeup on, and get made up, and nobody knows who you are really when you've got all the mask on and everything. It's really, really cool. Yeah, it was all right. Would I do it again? Probably not. It's a bit like camping. Well, you are camping out. Some people take it way too seriously. And some people don't take it seriously enough, I guess. You gotta have a balance. It was a long time ago. Yeah, it was alright, but would I do it again? Probably not. Not least for the fact that I'm older now and I can't be bothered with all that sort of stuff. But yeah. Okay. Let's do another one. Do you go to any conventions? Oops, sorry. I'm knocking the mic there. Do Do you go to any conventions? Not these days. I have done, though, in the past. Would I if they were nearer or more convenient for me? Yes, I would. But to be honest, going to things like Salute and that, the travel expense just puts me off. I'd rather spend that money on getting other models online somewhere else, I just would. But I've been there twice. I've been to Salute twice. I've been to a couple of others, smaller ones. And I've enjoyed it each and every time. I so have. I mean, it's nice to go around with someone to show you, how the layout and best way. But I've had more fun when I've been on my own, to be truthful, going to them, because I just want to do my own thing, go where I want, when I want. That's what I enjoy. But yeah, if they were nearer, like if there was one in Exeter or something, I'd probably go to that. It's difficult for me now because I've got to reapply for my driving license. So I don't have a driving license at the moment, and so it's not as easy for me to get to these places. But yeah, I have been. Right, War Machine or Hordes? Have you ever played? Absolutely, I have. Just check my playlist, sir. Or madam. I think you're a sir, but yes, I have. I started with Hordes because that was my fantasy fix. And I did go on to War Machine after that later on, and I thoroughly enjoyed the game. It's a great game. And it's a great pity no one around here plays it, but yeah, anyway. Next question. Did you ever own a home computer back in the 8-bit days, or aren't you old enough for that? Of course I'm old enough for that. I've been talking about that on other videos, and I've done a video recently on my another 5 games I loved on the Sinclair ZX Spectrum, and I've done ones about the ZX81, so that'll tell you how old I am. Yes, I did. My first ever computer was a Sinclair ZX81. Brilliant machine. Absolutely brilliant. And I've owned a lot of computers back in those days. I had a ZX81, I had a Commodore 16, I've had a ZX Spectrum, I've had a VIC-20. I can't think of it, but there's been others as well. I'd have to think about it. But yeah, yes, I am definitely old enough for that. Top 5 board games from your childhood. Oh, shite, I've got to remember stuff now. From my childhood. Right, so we're going back a long time. Monopoly. Totopoly. Escape from Colditz. The Alley Cats game. And Game of Dracula. There you go. I think all or most of them are covered on my channel, on the board games playlist. Go check them out. And they're all from my childhood because I used to play, against, a friend of mine, and we were very competitive. So yeah. Oh, there's an interesting one. I'll make this the last one. Why does time seem to pass us by so quickly? Okay, let's pop this over here. And they say when you get older, time passes by quicker, doesn't it? I think this is and I'm not an expert or scientist or anything, but I think that the reason time passes by more quickly now you're older than from like when you was a youngster is because when you're younger, everything's a new experience. You're getting more new experiences all the time. Like when you're born and you start walking and crawling, everything is a new experience. And then you start growing up a little bit. but you're getting a lot of new experiences, and you're experiencing things for the first time. As you get older, it kind of gets a bit samey. You've done all that now, and yeah, it's repetitive, and you tend not to notice it so much. So time passes you by. And the other reason is the whole doom scrolling thing. You know, you're on your phone, hours gone before you know it. And that's why I think time passes us by more quickly now. Anyway, that brings me to the end of P&Q. Well, this episode of P&Q. Loving these. I hope my questions last out. Do pop some in the comments section below if you have any questions. I would say email them to me if you want as well, but they get lost in the dross these days. A lot of my emails get just put as spam, so I wouldn't recommend that anymore. So yeah, just pop your comment in the comment section below, and we'll get to it at some point. But thank you for watching, and do remember, all brushes lead to war. I will see you guys on another video. Have a great rest of your day or evening or whatever it is, and I'll see you out there. Bye bye.